This is SPTV.
What's the Church of Scientology so afraid of?
This is SPTV.
Hello, guys.
Hello, hello, hello.
Welcome. Good evening, everybody. How's everybody doing?
There we go. Much better. I get to see your pretty face.
You get to see. Yeah, I know. I don't like the little one like that because it's sort of like, I feel like you have to squint to see
Yeah.
people's face.
And those of us that have bad vision, I'm sitting there like, I got you. I see your smile. Okay.
I can see you. I can see you in the air. Well, hello, everybody. It's so nice to see you guys. I mean, the first thing we should do is celebrate Miss Pokemon and Cults is now. How many subscribers you have?
I think I have like 1,300. Like this morning when I got up, I just needed, I think 39, if I'm remembering right. I needed like 39.
Oh my God.
And then today halfway through the day, where is it?
I feel like
1,340 subscribers is my current.
Okay, this might be a fail, but let's just see. Yay! Oh my God! Okay, I was trying to do a clap after that one, but
it's all right. We'll do the shakers.
Congratulations!
I know, right?
Yes, super congratulations. I mean, you know, we get to take baby steps every day, you guys, thanks to all of you who support us, who sit with us side by side as we having these conversations with y'all, you know, not easy ones. But you know, we are enjoying going on this journey along with you guys, because every day we're finding out more stuff. Every day we're breaking through barriers and trauma. And this has become some sort of movement. I tell you, like, I was not well all of last week, and all of y'all kept me going, and just I would get so many like grateful messages and comments, and the engagement on our community tab is so wonderful. And it feels great when like all of that, all of our efforts are being reciprocated in such an incredible way, because I couldn't be more grateful for all the support. What do you say, Liz?
I'm extremely blessed for all the support. It's almost like, you know, I'm just it's that saying, I'm just Liz. But I'm just Liz, whose dad's in a cult, and they all have my back. Everyone seems to be on my side, and just, you know, it's a family. And now it's like I have 1,000 family members or 1,300 family members. So it's new and amazing at the same time.
So true. I mean, and speaking about all the support, I mean, that's sort of what actually leads us to our subject today, because Liz and I were having a conversation, and we found out that, you know, there's been several times that, you know, even part of this very public journey that we're being forced to have, as much as it's amazing to show up with all of you and have the support, there's obviously going to always be pushback, and there's going to be opinions that are shared and trigger things that are going to make you feel a certain type of way. So the struggle is also real, because those comments do come in and do create reactions. And I don't know about you, Liz, but, you know, like for me, the only negative comments that I've actually gotten really have been from our community, inside our community. And because everybody in the comments that has not been in our community has been great. So, and it's not like there's been a lot or anything. There's just really been a few. But I always think but I think it's important to always even grab those few, because number one, it's great to have pushback. It's great to people can, if they're getting triggered and they're feeling a certain type of way about anything, then that means that our message is actually changing and getting somewhere, right? Like, we're not here to be parrots and all just agree and talk about the same stuff. And, we already were part of that community of group think, and group
Yeah.
think.
Like, we don't have an individual thought. Why would we have an individual thought? Let's just have the exact same thought as everybody else. That's what we had to do. But we can't do that anymore. And I think that's what you're saying is that, but there hasn't been much. I've literally gotten maybe out of we're going to high guesstimate like maybe 1,000 emails, because like it was just and then I try to get back to those that I can. Well, I try to get back to everyone, to be completely honest. And then you have a couple of negative ones, and then I get one today, and I'll just tell it to you. I get one. I get two today. One from one person, one from another person. And I'm pretty sure that they're friends or something. But basically that I should go in depth of all of my bone breakage. Like every time I got my ocular socket broken, every time my nose was broken, every time my jaw was broken and had to be wired shut. Then people would be able to relate to me, because they would be able to see it in their head. They'd be able to understand just how bad it was to have your collarbone sticking out of your skin. I'm good on that. There is things that I talk about with my therapist and with my friends, but good God, I am not going to sit there and go over why I have every toe can do a special trick because they've all been broken. Every finger can do a special trick because they've all been broken. I can dislocate quite a few bones in my body by just doing little things. But the idea that I would need to go in detail about the accident and how it happened, that's a big no. Sorry, Roger, 2-4, whatever they say in football, that's where we kind of draw the line on sharing. Is I'll share part of my life, but I'm not going to go in detail of every broken bone or the fear that was behind it. That's just not necessary. For anybody that wants to email and tell me how wrong I am, I'm sorry, but it's my life, not yours. And I have to draw a line in the sand somewhere, and the line just happens to be, I'm not going to sit there and go over that.
Well, and it's not great, actually, what you just said, Liz, because you're saying that setting a boundary is actually a point of growth. And as much as we grew up having not a shred of boundaries or access to a shred of boundaries, it always comes with this feeling of like, oh, look at you now being so demanding, or you're being, and it's like, no, like literally you're just setting a boundary and saying, this is what I'm going to share. That's all. And it's like, it doesn't even have to have an explanation. Like, this is what you're getting. Period. Full stop. That's it. There's nothing else to discuss.
Yeah.
And I feel like as trauma survivors, having been growing in these environments where we're being gaslit 24/7, and just like any domestic abuse survivor, you guys, because we know there's so many of you in the comments that are joining us in this mission, because you know what it feels like to be gaslit. I mean, Scientology, they really are a very special type of gaslighting. You guys do not get it twisted. I don't know, but gaslighters be gaslighters, and they're all clowns, and they use the same things, like keeping people under their thumb. So it turns out that, any disgusting human that just goes around squashing others and putting them under their thumb, for no good intentions, is what we're overcoming. And with that comes our ability to say yes to boundaries, Yes, you're not going to tell me how to sound. You can tell me, but you're not, it's just going to literally be for nothing. You can just open and close your mouth, because no one's going to tell survivors how to sound, or how to like come up with a talking point, or pitch it like this, or say it like that. Like, F that. Literally F that, because we've been literally coming from an environment where everything was a pitch, and that's where the learning experience is really at the end of the day. We came up in this hotel culture where everything had to be PR, everything was a pitch, everything was laundered and sanitized with BS blab, instead of the blab just hid the actions. And that's kind of what we're going with all of this. I think it's like we're calling out the actions, and the actions are unthinkable, dehumanizing abuse of minors and seniors and humans at scale, in that order of importance. Literally, minors, seniors, and humans, because there's all those three categories inside of those hotels. And it's it's what it is. I mean, these people are under the influence, repeat, under the influence of rhetoric from a convicted, indicted felon. It's not complicated. It's not earth rocket science. It's not scratch your head. Let's really figure this out. Let's have a million arguments about the 50 shades of gray that don't exist in this conversation.
Yeah.
There's one rhetoric, there's one policy. There's one person that dictates everyone what they do, how they do it, and where they do it. And they all agreed, the ones that were 21 and up. And they did sign a contract. And those contracts need to be sorted between attorneys and 21 and ups. And then anyone 21 and under, what in the hell is being done with them being signing contracts, binding contracts?
Right. And the idea that you're signing, so you can go to war, but you have to wait till you're a certain age. Why would it be okay for you to go to war at a certain age, but you can't give, like you're giving your life when you're not even close? Like the youngest I know of that signed a contract that actually started working for this year was 12. And then they made her do the GED, but it was one of those, you go
BS
to this
one.
house and you just fill it out real quick, and then they walk you through like every single question. So no, that person is not answering the questions, and then turn around and, oh, they have a GED. Yes, my parents are allowing me to give you my life at 12 years old. Hey, you can't vote, you can't drive, you don't have a high school diploma. Not really, because that person gave you the answers, you didn't answer them yourself. So it's at what point do we say enough? If that makes sense. Like it's always
The
one thing or
powers and the
another.
boundaries, going back to our original beginning of this podcast, guys, like, don't give survivors pity. Don't give survivors like, oh, we compassion, of course, but give them the ability to impose boundaries. Teach them that, because that's what was taken away.
Yeah.
And to give a survivor of trauma power is to actually give them the ability to newly understand who they are, which was taken away from them, newly be able to actually do things that are in their best interest. And I think this journey is about us being able to advocate for our best interest. We're advocating for our best interest. Like, what was done to us as kids is nauseating AF.
Yeah.
That's all. I mean, do we need to really like bring a million like medical files? Like, it's sickening. Trust me. Like, the worst part about it is that these people kept files of everything that was done to us. So even if we had to bring the files, yeah, in fact, let's go get the files. because there's warehouses the size of a fucking American mall from hell filled with files of kids. What in the literal hell are adults doing with a bunch of disgusting files filled with information of kids that no one should ever even think about having? Like, explain yourselves, Scientology parents. Explain yourselves, Scientology executives. Explain yourselves now. And not just David Miscavige, not just him.
All
David
of them.
Miscavige on down. We need the explanation from Guillain Leserve, executive director of whatever in the hell that man was directing. Whatever delusion he was under, to normalize literally having kids work for you as your slaves. Make that make sense in 2023 quickly. I don't care if you were in a hole, Guillain Leserve. I don't care. Not my problem, not Liz's problem that you were stuck in a hole. But what it is your problem is to start explaining how in the hell you went around setting up hotels and commercial buildings where children were being enslaved in unthinkable, disgusting ways. Make it make sense now. That's all. Make it make sense.
And not only make it make sense, for me, I don't want it to just make sense. I want it to be justified to me how this is still being done today. You say that it's not, but show me
Well,
for real.
Dick, you can say it's not. Tell me how you're not applying L. Ron Hubbard policy.
Right?
Tell me. Tell me how you are getting around that. Because y'all are so pathetic and so under the influence that you can't even see straight. So instead of saying that you're so intellectual and really all about freedom, start figuring out how you explain to us that you're so free. But if L. Ron Hubbard told you to do the opposite, then you're not free.
Yeah.
So you're enslaved to your own clownery. That's what that's called. Being a clown and then being a slave to your own stupidity. And you know what? It would be ha ha ha, he, alien Xenu, whatever in the hell. Hollywood make a lot of fun of this, whatever. But all your clownery, it's the minors that have to pay the price for that clownery. That's all. It's that simple. And you know what? We would know.
We were those minors.
What kind of toll that took on us. We would literally have firsthand experience on what it means. So that's why they cannot explain themselves, because there's nothing to explain. Where L. Ron Hubbard gave you a policy on how to explain everything, and then those policies are going to land you in the worst of troubles, because each one in those policies is what's leading to your criminal behavior. Oh yeah, we really can do it because L. Ron Hubbard wrote it in a memo, and we're being told by Monique and everyone else that this is all just so great to be doing.
It's so
and
wonderful.
so religious. Couldn't be more religious, couldn't be more 501c, couldn't be more doing great things for the universe. It's called being a clown. Get over it. Get over yourselves.
Mm-hmm.
Because again, your clownery is what's making minors suffer and have to pay the price, have to pay the real price of getting their naivete and gullibility exploited when they don't have a shred way to consent to that exploitation. And that's what's being literally juxtaposed. Like, make that make sense. Like, fine, if you really want to do it and you're 21 and up and L. Ron Hubbard is your homie, maybe. But how in the hell are you grabbing minors to be doing those disgusting sessions and ethics handlings on minors?
I just saw a question that made me realize then what's going on, or not what's going on. Sorry, that came out wrong. How many children do we suspect? I know when I was in the Sea Org, there was easily 75 other kids doing the exact same thing as me. I don't know how it was
I
like
mean,
in
you guys, the
Florida,
fact
but
is, it's like what you're saying though, Liz. Any parent that has a child is going to expose that child to the scourge of what in the hell that parent has got going on for themselves.
yeah.
So the problem is not how many minors are there. Like any single Scientologist that has a child is exposing their child to the scourge of the rhetoric of a convicted, indicted felon.
That only his word is
And
gospel, and you can't have any other
there's
religion.
not thousands. I mean, these people claim that they have hundreds of thousands. I mean, if you were really looking at their numbers, you would think that there would be like, I don't know, 100,000 kids at least. But since their numbers are fake AF, it's probably more like, I don't know, a good 4,000, 5,000 worldwide.
Mm-hmm.
10,000 maybe. I mean, if there really are that many Scientologists, but 10,000 too many kids. Is 5,000 too many kids? Is 1,000 too many kids? Is 400 too many kids? Is 100 too many kids? Is 50 too many kids? Why are kids getting exposed to the scourge of the rhetoric of a convicted, indicted felon? Is what we need to understand. That's all. Make that make sense to us in this year 2023. When we were kids, New York Times bestseller is what we were being told.
Yep.
When we were kids, this man really figured it all out. You have no idea. This is so magical. You're going to be so special to be
Yeah.
literally locked up against your will. It's going to be so great for you. You have no idea how much successes you'll be able to find for being locked against your will, being video recorded and interrogated in the most disgusting, nauseating, dehumanizing way. So, we really have to wonder, why is there such lack of outrage in this
Right? Like, why
world?
aren't more people screaming from the heavens?
Why are the kids not out of those hotels already? What in the hell is anyone waiting for? If you are a parent and you know what an auditing session is, and you're standing on the sidelines scratching your head, make it make sense why an adult can have their way with a kid inside a hotel without that kid being able to leave that hotel on their own self-determinism, just so y'all can really get that through your head, since that's how you spoke. Self-determinism. Well, guess where the self-determinism of kids goes to die? Inside of those hotels. So yeah, make that make sense right the hell now, because we're sick of the status quo BS of all these people really figuring it out. Was it really great? Was L. Ron Hubbard really well-intentioned? Did he really mean well? Are we really still question? I mean, what type of critical thinking skills are going around in this year 2023, you guys? Because yeah, L. Ron Hubbard was a genius until he wasn't. He's an idiot.
Like,
And
I can't tell
anybody
you how
that
many
doesn't,
times my mom told the war stories at lunch or at dinner, or we'd be with my like our WOG family, because they thought, oh, you're in a cult. Like, that's all my family would say to me. And my mom would be like, no, he was a war hero. He sprained his ankle. He's wearing medals from other countries that were never given to him. He sprained his ankle. How on earth does it make him a war hero? Because he needed to have his foot wrapped? That was told so many times as a justification that he had all these epiphanies, that he was this big war hero. And no, you were warping and twisting children's minds and not letting them have freedom of speech, not letting them have playtime. And here's my favorite part, and I will steal this from Laura. You stole our parents. You stole our friends. You stole our family. And we're just supposed to say, "Oh, thank you, sir. Thank you." And I'm not willing to say that anymore. Where's the outrage? Where is someone screaming, "This is not acceptable. You stole our family, our friends"?
I mean, and unfortunately, that question goes as a shout out to the parents, because y'all are the ones that need to start advocating for other parents. And if you also really got your ethics in, as y'all used to call it, that's what you would be doing right about now. You be knocking, "Oh, hi, are you a parent?" "Yeah, you know what? I did that too. I did that stupidity. Oh, yeah, I signed up my kids. I trafficked them. I didn't pay for their schooling. I got all the benefits that came with that. But you know what? I realized that it was BS that I was doing that. And you know what I realized? I did read the law, and it did say that, oh, child trafficking, because I was the economic receiver of having dumped my kid in that hotel. So now that I really find out what I was, I'm telling you that you shouldn't do it, because we are going to the authorities. We are knocking on the FBI's door. We are literally yelling at the top of our lungs every day outside those FBI headquarters to tell them what we did to kids ourselves, so it doesn't get done to more. And then other parents don't get also, sold the BS pitch. We're all advocating against more kids landing inside of that hotel.
Yeah.
And that's the pitch that should be going out to all the Scientology parents and all the Scientology celebrities, including but not limited to John Travolta and Elizabeth Moss. Miss, oh yeah, I really want to take care of women's rights here. I really want to be the poster child of that. Maiden's Tale. Like, what in the literal abominable hell is that woman doing, knowing full well what's going on inside of those hotels? And, all of Hollywood that also has had plenty access to Google, you guys. As we always say, they have not bothered to Google that shit for God knows how many decades. Hollywood, all the top people at CAA, all the best PR people. Yes, let's really work for these people as long as they pay us. Who gives an F?
Right?
Netflix, Hulu, Disney, everybody just like, we don't know anything. Allegedly, we've been hearing shit for 73 years, but everything's alleged. And, never mind that we did have a conviction of 30 years, which is almost unheard. I mean, who else do we know that has gone as a serial R like that other than like Harvey?
Yeah.
Another Hollywood cultist. I mean, as if that's not a cult of its own, Liz, honestly. Seriously, like, they may not say they're a church. They don't give a fuck about the church, but, they're sharing in other things in that little industry. I mean, it's written all over the walls, the human trafficking that it goes on, you guys. And again, human trafficking is not just seedy motels. I mean, that's like the pathetic pitch that everybody pitches to hide and masquerade and glamorize human trafficking of humans. It's in the modeling agency. If anybody watched the new series on Apple TV from Naomi Campbell and Christy and Sydney and Evangelista. And yes, they were 16 years old. And yes, they were being trafficked by agents. So yeah, you really are talented. Come here, 14 years old. Oh yeah, I really need to touch your boob because it's going to be so artful. And just go along with it. Who cares? Who cares? Well, guess what else? It's like these modeling agencies filled with human trafficking. These Hollywood agents, human traffickers of kids, of just pathetically telling themselves that they're so glamorous and amazing and whatever, and they couldn't be more disgusting. And we couldn't have more examples of that all over Hollywood, of how many kids that have offed themselves already because they can't even like get through what's done to them by these people that are just vampires, like monetizing, because it's all for money, you guys. This is literally money, 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 money. There's no other. Everything is just, oh, money, money. I just made money. I grabbed some money. Here's some more money. I need money. Like, it's all money, 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 money.
Mm-hmm.
And we're talking
Everybody's the dollar sign.
multi-millions and millions and millions popularizing disgusting stuff. Let's just put it at that. Literally.
Yeah, and then you have, you have celebrities that have come into it. Let's just call them, they're people. They're people that either have a lot more zeros in their accounts than most of us, and they come in and then they bring their friends in, and then everybody says, I'm trying to stop trafficking. It's right in front of you. It's been right in front of you the whole time. But yet you don't see it. You don't see the 14-year-old that's auditing the 70-year-old that has really ridiculous, disgusting, gross thoughts about doing evil things to this girl, but she's just supposed to, thank you, sir. Thank you. And what else did you think? And what else did you feel? Let's get more out. But that's okay. She's 14 years old. Just keep going. It's fine. She's an adult, right?
She's an adult in a small body, 14 years old, $500 an hour. We're going to video record it to really see how she does it, because we're really going to give her a grade. Oh, and we might give her an award too while we're at it. Not an Oscar. They call it the Auditor's Day. Is that pathetic, you guys? And they do the same thing. Dress up in a big gown, pretend they're very important, go take pictures before the event starts, have the event. And I mean, that's really how pathetic this is. It's all down to go to an event and take a picture with a trophy while you sat there for hours and hours. I mean, my friend Natalie Galbiati, that got Auditor of the Year, started at 12, and she was the one that every man wanted to go get fact checked by her. And it would be a thing. It would be so openly spoken about. I mean, it wasn't even like they were hiding it and saying like, oh, they're like, oh yeah, I really want her to do my FPRD. I really want her to get my evil purposes on sex handled. What? Like, ugh.
Yeah, it just grosses you out. Makes you want to vomit, because that was a person, a real person that they're talking about. I want to expose her to all my dirty thoughts. You know what? I want her to sit and stew in it and have to sit there and not smile, not move a muscle. She just has to sit there and just be almost like a
job, as a
wall.
literal job, you guys. Like, and if she doesn't sit there and listen to the most disgusting things, I mean, like, I just posted something on the community lines, because we're going to keep posting all these receipts that we have of all these questionnaires. There's a homosexual sec check. So you guys get to, I mean, actually, I have a copy of it here. I'll just read you a couple of questions, and then I'll put it on the community lines so you all can actually, literally read it for yourselves. But for example, have you ever taken the passive role in sex? Have you ever led others to believe that you only took the active role in sex? Have you ever had sex with an old homo? Have you ever taken money for sex? Have you ever received gifts for sex? Like, why in the literal hell would I, as a 12-year-old, be taught to be asking these questions? Have you ever been bitchy? Have you ever lied to another's sexual have you ever lied about another's sexual prowess? Have you ever forced sex upon anybody? I mean, how are these questions a religious experience?
No, I don't think they're
a religious experience. Locked up against your will, strapped to a machine, you cannot move. And imagine, this is also questions of kids. Like, the kids are being asked these questions, including but not limited to. And even just a question, like, a lot of people go, well, yeah, but you know what? It wasn't like everything was about that. Well, you know what? L. Ron Hubbard said that if you had a single shred of a miss, withhold anything you wanted to hide from these people, you guys. And all of a sudden, his stupid ass technology would stop crumbling and not working, because that's how ineffective that technology was. Apparently, one secret from L. Ron Hubbard and his whole technology just becomes garbage, literally dysfunctional. You didn't get anything out of it. You can't get the wins from it. I mean, how pathetic can anybody be in this year 2023 to still be scratching their heads with their heads up your, you know what, really, at the end of the day? Because, oh yeah, we can't figure it out. Like, what's wrong? Like, oh yeah, this is all very legal. I mean, no, it's not legal. It's disgusting. And this is being done as we speak.
Yeah, and let's not forget that there, not only is it being done as we speak, that auditor is locked in there with that grown adult, whether it be a young, let's not even put a sex on the auditor. Just put an age, 14, male or female. They're locked in that room with that person that is having disgusting thoughts and making this person visualize it and experience it. And oh my God, if he or she stops, she's going to get in trouble. If she needs a timeout, she's going to get in trouble. If she lets him or her leave, she or he is going to get in trouble. Because you were to finish. Otherwise, you are the one that messed up, not the person that's complaining, not the person that's going through it. You messed up. And how dare you not get it out last withhold out?
I mean, with everything being watched, with everything being like looked into, like that's what's also so damning, you guys, because it's not like any of these things are happening in some crazy corner that no one figured out, because L. Ron Hubbard did write very nice memos and everybody was going to be very respected and not dehumanized. The memos of L. Ron Hubbard call for the full-blown dehumanization of humans. Humans become commodities inside of those hotel rooms. They're being data mined. They're being asked disgusting questions. Their entire privacy is shredded into pieces. They have no more privacy at all. They have no dignity at all. It's utter and complete humiliation nonstop in that auditing room, with these auditors giving themselves power to whatever. That power could not be more depraved. That power could not be more unhinged. That power could not be more power dynamic imbalance from hell. In what world is a power dynamic imbalance from hell a therapeutic thing? I mean, quickly make that make sense, all of you Scientology adults that got involved in L. Ron Hubbard's BS. I mean, it's a serious question. Start thinking with some critical thinking skills. Stop being stupid. Literally, drop the stupidity and the clownery. You read books from a convicted, indicted felon. Go check the pitch again, and then double check and triple check to make sure what in the hell it's said to do. Because you know what? Oh, I was so stupid and so brainwashed. You know what? The word brainwashed, who gives an F about that word? Because that's just a cop-out. Oh yeah, I was brainwashed. I'm such a victim. Well, you know what? You're not a victim when you're following the commands of a convicted, indicted felon. So there. Stop feeling sorry for yourself and start being effective. Actually, start coming clean for once in your life. Literally, for once in your life. One time you get to come clean and be like, oh my God, look at all these memos from L. Ron Hubbard. No, that was not my idea. I'm sorry I did that shit. And you know what? I really effed up big time. So let me really do go to the FBI right now to tell them what in the hell I was doing, so that they're not doing it to more kids. So we don't have to wait another 30 years and us here having to waste our time, even with you, with all of you guys, like, you know, coming up with all these things. It's like, why is this happening? Like, why? If someone can really come up with a pitch that makes sense, you know, is it really that the law's that complicated?
See, and I don't
Honestly,
think the law is that complicated.
law is common sense, you guys. Law is common sense. The law already says you cannot have these type of power dynamic imbalances in a hotel room. That's already what the law says. So why these people get away with having disgusting power imbalances with children in hotel rooms, we would love to understand. Because that's all we need to understand. Why does that power imbalance take place? Why is it so protected? Oh, yeah, you don't know about this law that we really did come up with. We read the First Amendment. And the First Amendment didn't say, oh, yeah, write a memo that says circumvent the law like that. And then all of a sudden, there's no law. Because you know what? You just put a cross in front of the door, and all of a sudden, the laws don't exist. Because we are, what was it? A 501c. Oh, yeah, 501c. And this, you guys. And then you know what? Do whatever in the hell you want. Launder money. Put children to work. Put those kids to do unthinkable jobs that you couldn't even literally, why in the hell? But apparently that's how easy it is to circumvent the law in America, you guys. 2023, and that's just how easy. A convicted felon wrote a memo, and then all of a sudden, no one could apply the law anymore. And all of a sudden, let's outsource the law to minors inside that hotel that in a 2-week course, they're going to learn to, you know, have more powers than the president and the sitting Supreme Courts. Because why not? I mean, you really could get a diploma, you guys. All of a sudden, you're forgiven by the power invested in me by L. Ron Hubbard. I forgive you for all the felonies that you just told me in this thing that we were talking about. Have you ever forced raped on anyone? Oh, yeah, that's forgiven. That's your needle has
It's in the
floated.
past.
We have a technology that you have no idea. Like, it's just so amazing what we have here. And you did pay us $500 an hour, just like an attorney. But, you know, in 2 weeks that I did, you know, study this course, you know, who needs a Harvard lawyer when you can just go inside those hotels and actually, you know, open up your own practice? I mean, why doesn't some lawyers actually hire some auditors and, you know, start selling auditing as part of the law package? You know, on the one hand, you could come over here and, you know, tell us what you need help with, but then, you know, we'll just send you over to those auditors. They will write it down. They will video record it. And then your needle will float. And then you're done.
Voila. The sin is gone. We don't even need to go to court.
The self-admission of a felony that we data mined with a question that asked for the incrimination. Because again, it's like, oh, but how could we go against priests and priests? What? The priest couldn't be more confused about the type of methodology being used by these people in these so-called religious environments. So there is no confession if the question is being asked in an effort to self-incriminate against what the Fifth Amendment right does say, that everybody has the right to not self-incriminate, but these people insist. I want to pay to self-incriminate. Where do I sign up? I mean, can you give me a 2-for-1 this week? Can I really get that 16-year-old to listen? And will it really go away? I mean, it goes to consciousness of guilt. It's how sick this is. It goes
Right,
to
and then
consciousness of guilt. You committed a felony and now you found a hotel where they tell you a 16-year-old is going to float it, and you think that's a great idea because you really actually cannot find a place that's a safe haven for you in this country to discuss that. Literally, like if you have committed a full-blown felony, there is no safe place for you to go. You've broken the law. So you will either shut the F up for the rest of your life and live with the guilt, which I think the founding fathers even had that brilliancy in them to be like, okay, well, you know what? If the MF doesn't get caught, then at least he has to live with that guilt. But once you're out there not wanting to live with that guilt and really having to go talk about it, go tell somebody that you committed that type of Class A felony that you're losing sleep over, there you go.
And let's not forget about those that confess their sins of wanting or doing things to minors and then say, you know what, you can join us, sign your billion-year contract. It's totally okay. You're over 18. Perfect. And then a year in, you see a 13-year-old or a 12-year-old, and all of your urges are coming back because let's not look at the laws of the land. Exactly. You're going to see a child, and all of a sudden, you want that child. It's okay. And for some reason, when the parent puts up a stink and says, you know what, don't touch my daughter, this is out ethics, or this is disgusting, that parent is then threatened by this so-called Church of Scientology, and then they get married. Now, most people, when I was 13, did I want to get married? No. I don't know of anybody that would want to be 13 years old and married, not playing Barbies, not playing with their friends, not brushing their hair. You know, these people married children. And then they got to say, hey, this is legal. This is my wife. It's totally okay. Hey, this is legal. Don't worry about it. We have the family's permission. No, it's called statutory rape.
And what's so dangerous about this, guys, again, going back to L. Ron Hubbard being the maker of all these people, is that they become malignant narcissists. And as malignant narcissists, they have no way of self-reflecting on all the facts that we just exposed right now. They would rather not think about it like this. I'll tell you that much. You know, they rather go with L. Ron Hubbard's pitch that it was all a very technology that, you know, if it wasn't for David Miscavige, we would all still just be having a jolly old time, as if David Miscavige leaving or coming makes a shred of difference, as if David is the only depraved executive inside of those hotels, as if he was the only one that was ordering for kids to be trafficked. As if. This is a wide-ranging racketeering conspiracy of a collective of adults that are all in on it. They're all about it. They don't want to know anything else. They don't want to hear about anything else. They don't want to think that the law applies to them in any way, shape, or form, because inside of those hotels, it doesn't. So we would love to hear now from America why it's propping up hotels that can act lawless. Why is the LAPD outsourcing legal matters to hotels where kids that don't have a shred of a clue about the law are supposed to do better investigations than his own detectives that in whatever how many years of the LAPD has not had a shred of detective connect a shred of dot of what's being done to kids inside of those hotels. In fact, all we have is eternal footage on YouTube from people that try to even just go to the sidewalk of a building for them to be screamed at and yelled at, because that's when the LAPD is really pressed to not have any trespassing charges. I mean, God forbid they go from the sidewalk to inside the building. So when someone in the LAPD can make that make sense, it would be great that day when that starts making sense.
Yeah.
Because
or why is not one of these parents going to the LAPD, going to the Florida Police Department? I don't care how badly they threatened you, the idea that you would think it is okay or acceptable to pawn your minor child off and be like, hey, it's totally okay that you're getting married, because guess what? You're not going to have kids. We're going to then put you in a room and we're going to force you to have an abortion, because before you're 18, you know, guess what? You might have had 3, you might have had 4. This isn't a form of birth control, but to them, it is. Because how dare you leave your post for a child? We're taking you to the clinic right now, or we're going to have your whole family declared. How about we start saying no and we say, declare us? Because eventually, once you declare the whole world, they got no one to talk to, no one to do this to.
And what Liz is just talking about, you guys, is, again, how in the world can it make sense that underage girls are being forced against their will? This is Laura Di Crescenzo's case, civil case that went on for years of Scientology, delaying it as far as it could and easily settling everything at the very last minute, at the very last darn minute. Again, never mind that Laura Di Crescenzo had to carry that in civil court because there's just no appetite to open any criminal investigations. Because you know what? The law's so hard. Cases are so hard to make. You have no idea. You idiots. These people have all the folders of the case. The case has already been made. Go get the person's PC folder and the case is there. The contemporaneous note to every last aspect of abuse perpetrated on that person is in that folder, written in a very real, easy way to know. I would know. I was a specialist. I can read those folders like the back of my hand. I know exactly where everything is written. I know where all the felonies are kept. I know where all the dates of the felony committed and written and who checked it and who supervised it and who signed it and who saw it and who didn't see it. All it's written, all it's on paper, all it's there, all it's stapled, all it's perfectly put together. So let's not pretend we don't know how to put a case by this police force that just doesn't want to build a shred of case because you know what? They rather just be cashing checks for overtime to go protect people on sidewalks. But you know, when asked about the kids, oh, who cares? Oh, you know, they really are there. They really do have the way to do it because Scientology is really legitimate. And you know, all of our attorneys of this California thinks it's amazing that we have this here in Hollywood because aren't we so progressive in California? Allowing this organization to fester and infest the streets of this disgusting city that gave this man his own street. A convicted, indicted felon has his name on a street.
Right?
Like, let that sink in, you guys. Like, let that sink in. So how deep the rabbit hole goes with California. How even the politicians can go, oh, well, we have not a shred of a clue. Oh my God, I'm just coming in. Well, you know, maybe Mayor Bass can like really start stepping it up because you know what? It's like none of these things change when nobody gives an F. You guys, that's literally the problem. For these politicians, to the state's attorney's office, to how police moves, to everything is based on politics. There is no justice in this country. The only justice there is the levers of justice move with the levers of politics, and everybody's got to be eating part of something that's convenient to them before anything gets done. If it's not in those ways, then it's you know what? We'll apply the law when in another decade. Give us another decade and let's just see how the climate changes because you know what? It's going to take a lot for the climate to change. Well, you know what? Welcome to global warming.
Well, here's my thing. So if you're telling here's a question, I guess, towards the LAPD or whatever you want to call it, or whatever police department is responsible for the area. You can't go in there and say, can I see your driver's license? Can I get your birth certificate? You're going to walk in there and there's not one place that you can turn in any one of those organizations that you will not find a section of pedophilia. You will not find a minor married to an adult where they've got years until they're legal. Not 1 year, not 2 years. We're talking 5 years. And I've seen it. 13-year-olds marrying 38-year-olds. That's pedophilia. If there was really true love, you wait till they're 18. You don't do anything until they're 18 at minimum. But no, they want to instantly get married. They want to write a letter to the captain, which is the main person of the organization, and say, you know what, this is my soulmate. We're supposed to be together forever. My statistics are in power. Her statistics are in power. You know, I want to spend the rest of my billion years with this person. And then lo and behold, captain looks at it and says, you know what? They're both in power. Okay. Where the captain looks at it and says, no. But 90% of the time I've seen yes.
Game, you guys. There's no rhyme or reason. There is no rhyme of reason. The law doesn't exist inside of those hotels. The rhyme and reason is gone. It's so checked out. And, it's like people wonder why we have to make these points, because who else is making them? The rhyme and reason is not there. The people cannot have access to kids. All of those kids are a clear present danger to the kid. If there's an adult running around pretending a kid is an adult, I mean, what type of advocacy do you need? What kind of genius do you need to be like, is it a good idea that these people that all believe kids aren't kids really have unfeathered access to them in ways that you can't even find in any other normal institution? Because there is no such thing. Nobody has this level of ownership over a child. Never mind that there are ones that you don't even have to prove that all of them are doing the crime. They're all following the goddamn L. Ron Hubbard policy like idiots, like blind sheep, like blind AF sheep. And it's like, it's like we had to live with that consequence. Our parents were dumb enough to buy the pitch and get scammed themselves, and that's just the fact. And why should more parents get exposed to this? Why should more kids get exposed to this? How can this still be going on for so long, for so much time? How is it possible that, everything is just so complicated? Oh my God, you have no idea. The law is not complicated. The law is common sense.
Yeah, it's black and white. And it's pretty simple. Like, there's no bending the law, there's no warping it. The law is just one way or the other. So how come in all of these situations you're telling me that not one person can see it, not one person can be like, this is wrong, they shouldn't be doing this, but no, they'll marry off a child in a heartbeat.
So it's just, it is what it is, you guys. But I think kind of centering back our attention to our conversation of trauma and being told what to say or how to be activists or not activists. And we lived this hell in our childhood where we were being given feedback all the time on how to sound and how to be and how to feel about things. And in the journey that we're in today, it's about actually acknowledging our authenticity and finding out how we really feel about things, and using anger as a tool to blast off the denial that is imposed by every last shred of policy of L. Ron Hubbard, because that's what L. Ron Hubbard does. L. Ron Hubbard is denial, 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 denial. And, after decades and decades of denial, trust me, like, you become that thing that you were denying you were, and all of that shit is like, it's all convoluted, compounded, horrific, disgusting dysfunction. And it's like, we don't wish this on our worst enemy. If we didn't feel this strongly about it, then yeah, sure, everybody goes, screw themselves. It's like, we don't have time to talk about this anymore. We don't want to. I told Liz, I mean, I hate talking about it, but I wouldn't have it any other way, because talking is the only way that we are able to actually advocate for even ourselves. Going back to, like, we're now advocating on our own best interest, and the best interest of those kids that don't have a shred of advocate, that need all of y'all's advocacy to understand what the problem is. It's like, that's the only way that we get any justice done. I mean, if there is nobody caring, then there's nobody wanting to care to enforce the law. That's how it works. I mean, that's welcome to planet Earth. Yeah, it should be like, anytime anybody commits an injustice, they're really seeing some sort of consequence, but we know that's not how it works. So the only way to expose it is to be able to have to take this role of what we observed firsthand with our own eyes, having a front row seat at that dysfunction, knowing the policies the way we know them, the way we wish we wouldn't have ever had to know them. It was bullshit stuff that we should have never been wasting our time with, much less our entire childhood, much less our entire formative years.
Right. You know, or how many people how many people have been told that their parent is dead? I know I was. And then come to find out, just kidding, not really dead. Hey, we're going to keep him digging ditches. So he's not going to eat very much. It's okay. You know, we offered him a temporary restraining order, wasn't ready for it. Oh, wait, just kidding. You're his illegitimate child. How many people are they lying about? How many bloody people? What does that say? You get to read them.
Question: did either of y'all hear about Mike Brown's story from the ranch? All awful, and what you were just saying, Liz. I mean, you're sort of a kid from the ranch when they didn't even give a fuck about having a ranch. They literally just have them strolling around in the street, like literally in the concrete streets of Los Angeles, gang infested at the time, mind you guys, because there were still like shootouts and all that kind of horrible stuff at the time, right, Liz?
Yep. Anything that I like when I was a kid, I remember riding my bicycle to McDonald's, and McDonald's was like almost 2.5 miles away from the blue buildings, as we call them. Let's just give them the blue buildings. And now I'm like, I was 6 years old. Why was anyone okay with me riding a bicycle to McDonald's, let alone two of us at 6 years old riding a bicycle to McDonald's? You know, but they didn't care. They until we were old enough to join the Sea Org, they didn't give a shit about us. And then once we were old enough to join the Sea Org, they absolutely didn't give a shit. We were a statistic. And then it was, how can they break us? How could you twist and warp us so that we're such broken human beings that it's never going to be okay? So most of us, like myself included, when I left, and even during, I found drugs. When I got out, I found alcohol, because it was never a problem when I went to family reunions or family gatherings, having some alcohol then. And yes, it was before I was 21 years old because my family's Spanish. So sorry, guys. But I never had a problem with it. But I leave the Sea Org, and all of a sudden I'm searching for the answers in the bottom of a bottle. I'm searching for numbness, so I'm using drugs until I can't breathe. And now I'm just screaming from the top of my lungs, "You some doo-doo heads." Trying not to cuss. I'm trying to be a new me and not cuss so much. How's it working for you?
Yeah. I mean, obvious how things are. Never heard about the media trying to stop human trafficking. Yeah, well, the media narrative is super glib and superficial, guys. It's all just like these, ridiculous stories about, once upon a time in a shitty hotel, we really did find a couple people that were being trafficked, but no, it's very pathetic, the coverage that is out there from the corporate media. I have to say, and I'm going to be doing a video about that this week, actually, of some actual people that I've seen that are talking about trafficking in a way that is actually serious, and it actually makes sense and explains what the facts are and what the crime entails. And it's not just some glib, superficial, easy catchy Marisol Nichols type story about how it only happens in shitty motels. Because there's a lot of psychological aspects to understand about this crime. So it's not just that easy to understand it. It's Miranda Brinker. It's strange that Scientology is most prevalent in the most progressive and least progressive states of the country, and neither side will acknowledge it. Shaking my head. Yep. 100%. I mean, California and Florida. Florida, like Governor DeSantis in Florida and Gavin Newsom. Somebody said that they should ask that question in a debate. I really hope to God somebody does. Joseph Abrams, the Danny and Ashtonson thing seems to be like win for justice. Yes, it is, but they were made to get caught mainly for Ashton to be revealed and make any attempt of a celebrity helping anti-trafficking not happen. I don't know. I don't know. I didn't really understand that. Did you understand that?
I kind of got it, but read it again. Because I think what I'm thinking it is something different.
No, I think it's fine.
Okay.
I'm just scanning through these quickly, guys. I'm just seeing if there's any questions here.
I know there was some super chats. I know we have to get to because I saw a couple of them. I do.
Here's a super congratulations, Liz. Yay, congratulations.
I know 1,300. It was a blink of an eye.
Liz, congrats. Boom. Love you, Liz. My heart's so happy for you. 1K. Yay. Thank you, Beth. Thank you, Ozuki and Ekshumi. You guys have the best names. Samaya, Liz, your whistling story is so moving. Don't believe the lies. Save Bob Ferris. Yay.
Thank you so much.
Samaya.
Yeah, his whistle is unique. You know, and one day I'm going to get him to whistle for everyone else.
Can you
That's
do
my
it?
goal.
You know how to do it? I can't whistle. My dad.
Oh, I can. I know how my dad whistles too. But I'm really not. I mean, I can try. But
try.
Baboop, you know. So if I hurt anybody's ears, I'm really sorry. But this man taught me how to whistle this way. So we, you know, either which way. He did that. It's like you're whistling for a taxi where it's the high up and down and the high up and then down.
That's funny. I cannot whistle. So
but it's always got to be two fingers.
Strong. Thank you, Jean. Boom, 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 boom. So anything else on your mind, Liz?
Here's what I would really like. I am so grateful for everyone being there and listening to me. I'm grateful for everything. But wait a minute. Mics don't pick up sound that are high pitched. Okay, well, good. That's a good thing. But remember, we're human. So I know, you know, I'm human. You guys are all human. You know, I always like to say, be nice to everybody in the comments, but also be nice to us when you're sending emails. Not both of them were bad, but you know, just remember we are sensitive. We see a therapist. So if I want to reach out and talk to you, that's great. But other than that, I have a really amazing therapist. And please think about some of the words that are being said because we are vulnerable and we are human. You know, I'm not going to rip off my shirt and pull out super bitch, you know, but if you keep pushing it, then unfortunately I will. But please remember, I have a really good therapist, and I don't like it when people say that I need to explain all my broken bones to them to make people believe of what I've gone through. Those that are in my life have seen the scars, and you know what? That's good enough for me. If someone wants any more than that, I'm sorry, we're not close enough to do that. And I want to say that that's not kind. It's not kind for someone that's gone through that to have to explain it in detail. It's not kind at all.
Yeah.
What about you, my friend? What have you got next?
Well, I think it was really great to be able to once again get back to these lives with you guys. And so I was just glad to be fully healed and to have a community that can acknowledge our pain and that can understand what we're talking about and where we're coming from is such a blessing, because it is part of our recovery journey to be able to reach to that point of power and reach to our voice and make ourselves heard, and continue peeling back the layers of deceit and the layers of trauma that are holding this ridiculous organization together. And every day we come here and we take a bath, and I think that people need to understand that anger is the antithesis of that trauma that we were put through. Like, the reason they got away with what they did is because we had no access to our anger. They made it impossible for us to get angry about being abused. And had that emotion not been taken away from all the kids, they would have never been abused, because they would have been able to stop it. They would have been able to actually hold boundaries against that abuse. So I think it's very important to be aware of our anger, and it definitely is necessary to categorize these wounds that we have. And you have to understand that it's perfectly fine when you've been abused and gaslit ad nauseum to reach into those healthy aspects of anger, to lift off those veils of denial that are actually not serving you whatsoever. Because the denial is like literally the cancerous cells eating at you. Your body knows the truth. It's got the scars. I mean, like you said, Liz, at the beginning of this live, you have the scars to, you don't want to probably show every single last one, but your body already has the record of all of that. Like, we lived it. We lived the hell. We know what happened. We know what took place. And we are literally livid AF. There's not even a word that could describe the level of upsetness. And you know what? Good. I'm glad. I'm glad I'm angry. I'm glad I'm livid. I'm glad I literally want to shred every face of every last executive that abused a child. I am so glad. It's so healthy. It's so great to have that, because their faces need to be shredded. There were child abusers. It's indefensible what y'all have done. Indefensible. You don't need a court of law to tell you that, because you already know. And I think that put your money where your mouth is the great little saying that we can put right back today. And if you really have left the hotel, then start doing something to make sure that not one more child is abused inside of that hotel. Do everything you can from your position and start coming clean on what you actually did do when you were there. I think those are, important things to have, because nothing changes if nothing changes. So, this is not a story about coming here for the next, 20 years and say the same thing every day. It's about, we're here, we're sharing our truth, we're raising awareness, we're advocating on behalf of the kids that are still there. As we advocate for those kids' well-being, everybody else's best interests are being advocated for, even if they don't see it that way. Even if they go, oh, but you're attacking my beliefs and my religion. Well, you know what? Check again that pitch, is what we say to those people. Because believe it or not, we're even advocating on your behalf, on your dumb ass. We are advocating. So stop being insulted if you feel you're being insulted, because literally you should want to be insulted. Literally, you could be not more narcissistic to not want to be insulted over doing unthinkable things and participating in something that is just not in any way, shape, or form normal. It's like
Yeah.
whoever's telling you that, whoever's not insulting you doesn't give an F about you. That I can guarantee you.
Yeah.
Whoever's capitulating, cradling and canoodling you, oh yeah, well, if you want to abuse your kid, it's okay. I mean, and you want to abuse them, but no. It's like, no, we already know this is not good for you. We can already say no. We know why we're saying it. It's not like, oh my God, it could be so great for you and we don't want you to have it. I mean, that's so ridiculous. As if, that's
Yeah.
how L. Ron Hubbard made us, painted us suppressive people. Oh yeah, you really don't want what's best for people. And it's like, no, you clown. You're the one that doesn't want anything good happen to nobody. And you're just exploiting everybody with your stupid ass rhetoric that makes not a shred of sense in this year 2023. We've decoded the rhetoric of L. Ron Hubbard, you guys. So breaking news. The convicted, indicted felon L. Ron Hubbard's rhetoric has been decoded by the kids that got front row seats at that disgusting hotel.
Yeah.
That's the breaking news of today. And as a result of having decoded that, we can tell you that it wasn't good for anyone to follow literally the ideas of a convicted felon. That experiment is a complete and utter fail, a flunk, no bueno, no good, garbage, basura, asqueroso, marrano, naco, porquería. Okay? So all of those things, hope you guys got the notes. Porquería, asquerosa, marrana, disgusting. Vomit. Get your vomit bags next to you. Have them, because the struggle is real.
So here's the state law for you real quick, and it might make you vomit. Okay, because it really just did. So in California, you must be 18 to get a divorce. There is no minimum age to get married as long as your parent or guardian consents and gives the court permission. California is among the 7 states, including New Mexico and Oklahoma, that does not have a minimum age for marriage. There is a group of people called the Child Brides, a campaign that is trying to start to ban underage marriages in California. So let's say after reading that, the person is 13 years old. At 14, they want to get divorced. Yeah, you can't. It's not legal in the state of California. So what I'm trying to say is there may not be an age for marriage, but there's an age on statutory rape. So either which way, not okay with parents signing consent for a child to marry a 38-year-old or 21. 21 and 13, still not okay with me. Once they're adults, I don't care.
Yeah. Okie dokie. Well, I think we're gonna end off, right?
All right, well, let me say my favorite, and then I want you to do what you promised you're going to do.
Oh, that's right.
Don't forget to tip your waiter or waitress. Please be kind to everybody in the comments. Remember, I will be back with Oh No Nora, as in the Dyke-tastic duo tomorrow. And then I want you to do what you promised.
I am gonna do it, but I'm gonna do it tomorrow because I'm so tired at this time.
Okay.
But
All
no,
right, then
thank
I'll
you
have to
guys
watch
for
tomorrow.
joining us. It was so great to see you all. Please leave any questions you might have out of this chat in the comments, because we love interacting with our communities and we love answering all your Scientology related questions. Like, ask away, ask us anything. What's going on with this? What's going on with that? Why is this? Why is that? Whatever we said that if didn't make sense, let us know. We're going to continue posting receipts and more of these disgusting policies, including the homosexual sex check that I just read you. So y'all can take a look for it for yourselves, because those are the type of questions we need to start getting answered. Why are kids being exposed to these questions? Why are adults not doing anything to intervene? Why are adults allowing themselves to pay themselves to spend time with kids inside of those hotels? Those are the questions we need answered, including by the LAPD. So, let them know, tag them in this video, go to their Instagram account, ask them the questions y'all need. And, this is just planting a small seed, you guys. But as much as we did already a small protest in front of Scientology buildings, I also thought, hey, well, while we're at it, we might as well start making one to the LAPD themselves, the Hollywood division of the LAPD. We need to go protest to them. They're the ones that are not enforcing the law. They're the ones that are the enablers. So the enablers are not the victims. So the LAPD can start doing their job, because so far all we see is enabling and not a shred of law being enforced. So I think we're going to be amplifying our mission of who we're advocating for. And hopefully the LAPD can get their act together and really start getting on the right side of the law. And I think that's it. So thank you guys so much for watching, and we'll see you all extremely soon. Have a great night, everyone. Or at the end there, because I was just like, oh my God.
The live